Good morning. How are you today? Well, it's overcast. It's comfortable. It's supposed to rain. It's not now. It has already. So that's my mini Thomas Jefferson weather report. He kept track of the weather every day, but he used instruments to do so. My instrument is public broadcasting, I guess. The hill is ablaze with activity, and the question is it dynamic staticism, meaning everybody's running around with like a chicken with his head cut off, but accomplishing maybe nothing, but we don't know that. I think the trick in politics and analysis is picking out the key factors and deciding what they mean. So in the House, we have a split among the Democrats between the so-called progressives, which really should be called liberals, or they shouldn't waste their time calling themselves progressives. Sorry, but that's the way I feel. I think truth in advertising is important. And the moderates, and I don't know what that means. They're in a Republican district, and they're trying to tilt their ship in such a way that they'll get reelected. Now, Pelosi has got a long history of dealing in complex situations. You may remember in 2009, she was key in passing the climate bill. And then I think it was the following year, 2010, that she helped pull over the line the Affordable Care Act. Substantial legislative achievements, no question about it. I don't know that she's met her match in the House. If there's anybody who can pull this through the House, even with the slim majority she has, I think it's 3 votes, she can do it and do it. So where's our problem? Our problem is across Capitol Hill over in the Senate. We had a vote last night, and in that vote it was 48-50. And as a result, the 48 were the Democrats. They didn't pass a bill having to do with the debt limit and things like that. You know, keep our government going, to avoid default, that kind of sensible stuff. And of course, the Republicans in the Senate didn't give a vote. But the split in the Senate is more difficult. It's the S&M gang, Sinema and Manchin. And Sinema's a strange duck. I don't know if you remember, but at one point she was wearing a purple wig to the chambers because she couldn't get her hair done. I don't know. And when she was younger, she considered herself a liberal, and now she's some sort of moderate. She's a hard person to nail down. And usually, when there's no theme for a political personality, there may not be much thought either. But the thing she seems clear about is she doesn't want to vote for this bill. That is a $3.5 trillion bill involving infrastructure. And maybe much else. And that's our problem. Her and Manchin are those 2 votes that are paralyzing the rest of it. And so when we talk about senators who are helpful, insightful, constructive, that's all well and good. And these are good people. But what about the 2 that are holding us up? And we don't seem to have a remedy for that. And we don't seem to have candor about it. And the Democrats don't strike out at the Republican as hard as they should. Although, having said that, Schumer stepped forward and laid it out last night, and I think he will continue to do that. You know, a kid from Brooklyn is not, that's the guy that I want to see him as, that is fighting back. But fighting back and not having the votes are 2 different things. As a guy who spent most of his life in litigation, I look at the Hill as not as complicated as litigation, but the personalities and the arbitrariness sometimes of the decisions, I guess in a way mirrors the public that don't make all these decisions consistently and logical and make the best ones. So you're always dealing with this quotient. But right now, it would seem the Senate caucus is limited to 2 who don't make sense, and we don't seem to have a way to get past that. And so we need, for the purposes of the budget reconciliation, which just is a majority vote, we need a couple of Republicans. But consider their discipline. they will not move unless McConnell says they may. And he did say that they could when it came to the $1 trillion infrastructure bill that's sitting over in the House, and that the liberals or progressives in the House will not approve unless the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill in the Senate comes over as well. And so there's the impasse. Our government is paralyzed. And at a time when it's critical and in an unprecedented fashion. And it's the kind of thing that should be the issue in the campaign. But are we going to limp all the way to the campaign because we're in default on bills, that we're going to have the markets crash all around us? It's a pretty terrible time in that regard. And I wish I could put some gloss on it, but I don't see profiles in courage. I do think that Biden and Pelosi are more than the sum of their parts, meaning that if there's any shaft of sunshine, shaft chosen carefully, these two can find a way to use it. But again, we have those two in the Senate who don't seem ready to move. And this is without talking about the reckoning and everything else. So think about the fact that on the Hill, we're going to beat up Milley for what happened in Afghanistan when the whole government is ready to fall down. These guys can't choose priorities. The other one is plan ahead. The way you and I probably plan things in our household or our business, however small or large, is we have the deadline and we work back from them. And we do a PERT diagram, or in our head, if not on writing, by which we get from point A here to there. These guys take off weeks. Then they come in and they have this crisis and they have no agreement. And nobody's met in the interim, and they talk about how they're negotiating and nothing happens. So I hate to cast this much sunlight on a bad situation, but I think that's where we are. And I was frankly cheered that there was a flotilla in the harbor in D.C. around Manchin's boat, the HMS Manchin. That's not what it's called, but that's what I call it. And Captain Bligh is proceeding to drive his ship aground, if you will, metaphorically speaking. But there are people out there calling him out on it. And we need more of that, because as the system breaks down, we're going to see these irregular structures of protest and political action to cure the fact that our system is not working. It's the way we are. And it can't happen soon enough as far as I'm concerned, because it appears otherwise nothing will happen. So that's a dose of my view of reality today. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and maybe we'll have a better story to tell. Bye-bye.